I'd like to broaden this discussion now to take in Africa, which is part of Central Command's base of operations and areas of concern. Somalia in particular. 200,000 refugees there within the last couple of months, according to several independent estimates. And within the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've seen gun battles on the streets. It's a desperately unstable country at the moment. Did America financially or in other ways back the Alliance for the Restoration of Peace and Counter-Terrorism, which was a euphemism in many people's eyes for a group of warlords who wanted to overthrow the government?
I have no visibility or information that would even let me answer that question.
Are you aware, have you seen any plans for backing counterinsurgencies within Somalia?
No.
Are you backing Ethiopian troops, who
No,
many people consider to have invaded
What we
Somalia?
have in that region is a joint task force that's committed to humanitarian operations to help the people within that region, within the Horn of Africa. We recognize the strategic importance of that area. It represents an ungoverned space where, again, those bad actors, those violent, extreme actors, will seek safe havens. So we understand the strategic importance of those nations in Africa. But to undermine or support those movements from the Department of Defense, I have no visibility on.
So
that.
you're saying you have not supplied any weaponry, any kind of military advice to the Ethiopian armed forces who are currently in Somalia?
U.S. Central Command has not. And I'm not trying to sidestep your question. I just, from where I sit, have no visibility on that.
So when a spokesman for the transitional Somali government said some time ago, we have a common objective, that is his country and your government, but the U.S. is using the wrong channels. Have you any idea what he meant?
No, I don't.
Might he have been referring to the fact that you were offering assistance to those people he felt were trying to overthrow his government?
I really can't, again, from a military officer's point of view, particularly U.S. Central Command, I would not be able to answer that question. Again, I would go back to what our overriding objective in the region is to partner with nations if they need assistance, with their military if they have one, to do what it would take to enable them to grow and be a contributing partner to the region.
But you wouldn't like that to be the Union of Islamic Courts, would you?
Well, that's an area, again, out of my lane when it comes to talking about political leadership or what we would do politically in that situation.
But I'm sure your political bosses were quite happy to see the Union of Islamic Courts driven out and Ethiopian-backed forces moving in.
Well, I would have to ask them.
The United States Department of Defense, the Department of State, recognizes the strategic importance of certain parts of Africa and how easy it is to get instability there. Is that why you're planning to concentrate more effort into a part of CENTCOM at the moment, which is going to be called AfricaCom? What dangers do you see there?
Well, AfricaCom will be a separate combatant command.
But it's taking over some of the areas of
responsibility. But it will take some
of
CENTCOM. Yes, it will. It will take some of our present area of operation. And I think you asked what are the challenges that we would see there.
What particular dangers do you see there?
I think it is a very large, ungoverned space that will offer the safe havens for terrorists to train, to set up their centers for command and control. So it offers an expansion, if you will, for those extreme actors that we see in the region and that we see globally.
In many ways, they have the upper hand again here, don't they? Because all they have to do is move on from one theater of operations, and you have to follow them.
Well, this is not a surprise. I think if you go back and students of international terrorist movements recognize that this is an attribute of this kind of enemy. They are, while we've dealt blows to Al-Qaeda and some of its associated movements with killing and capturing some of the mid-level to more senior level individuals, they are still very dangerous. They still are very actively recruiting and building a base of terrorist activity. So this offers them, as we talk about Africa, it does offer them a base, a geographical base of operation. But to say that it's a surprise or to say they've got the upper hand, no, I think it means that we continue to refine our military and our international community with its capabilities that it can bring to bear down on these cells of terrorists and to eventually find them, fix them, and take them out of the picture.
And do you consider helping in humanitarian operations, helping those people who might want to overthrow a particularly troublesome regime?
I would see helping the people of a nation who wants to help themselves. We reach out to people, and again, going back to military officers understand that military solutions by themselves, and in this day and age in particular, will not achieve success or set conditions for success. So in many ways, reaching out, providing assistance, enabling any people who want to help themselves is very, very important to all of us, and particularly in this region.
If those people in Iraq, perhaps in other countries too, that are involved in the levels of violence that we see at the moment, if they decide that is what they want to continue doing, is there any way you can stop them?
I would have to go to the government of Iraq and say, the governance that you provide will make the difference in this. Now, your question to me was, if we see that we can't stop it. Well, I tend to say, out of my commitment to optimism and my commitment to seeing the job through, that that's not an option right now. We will stay there until our job is done, which is to support the Iraqi security forces as they support their government.
But in your darkest days, you must wonder sometimes.
I'm an optimistic person.
General, thank you.
Thank you.